Okay, it's 8:30 this morning. We're going to call the May 6th Economic and UWEX Committee meeting to order at 9:00 a.m. We'll begin with roll call. Tom Duffy is excused. John Righeimer.
Here.
Stacy Hessel. Steve Karyanen.
Here.
Randy Newman.
Here.
Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay,
Can you hit number 4?
We will begin with elections.
Oh, okay.
We get new chair and vice chair today. So I'm going to open the floor for nominations for the position of chair first. The person receiving a majority vote of members entitled to a seat shall be declared elected. This vote shall take place by voice vote. If no majority is reached, we will continue to vote. Once the candidates have been nominated, they will be afforded the opportunity to speak for 3 minutes. So at this time, I'm going to open the floor. Oops, I forgot the certification. I should say that. This meeting has been noticed to the public and news media as required by section 19.84 of the Wisconsin statutes. Snuck that in. I'm going to open the floor for nominations for the position of chair. Do I have any nominations? Calling for nominations for the position of chair. Okay, we have a nomination by Stacy Hessel for John Righeimer. Do we have a second call for nominations for the position of chair? Third and last call for positions for the position of chair. Okay, hearing none, we will close that section of the election and cast a unanimous vote for John Righeimer as chair for the Economic Development Committee. All in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Congratulations. Sir, would you like me to conduct the vice chair election?
Sure.
Okay. We'll do the same process for the position of vice chair. Do I have any nominations for the position of vice chair?
I'll nominate Stacy Hessel.
Do we have a second nomination for position of vice chair? Third and last call for nominations for the position of vice chair. All in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carried. Congratulations to you both. Now next week or next month, we will have the name signs out for your positions. So take over.
Thanks, Lynn. Thank you very much. All right, meeting agenda is set. Public comments. Linda?
Good morning, Linda Zilmer, resident of the Village of Birchwood and property owner in Edgewater. And this morning I'd like to mention that last week was Small Business Week. And for the last 10 years, Wisconsin has been holding a series of informational and educational events in conjunction with that national recognition. This was the 10th year. And for the first time, one of the sessions was held on tribal lands, and it was here at LCO University. So on Tuesday, there was a series of in-person half-day sessions, and then Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday were all virtual sessions. I thought it was very informative, a lot of more native-based resources, although someone was there from Northwest Regional Planning. I recognize some names on the sign-up list, but I don't think anyone was there from Sawyer County LCO Economic Development Corporation. And in the sessions I attended throughout the week, nobody ever mentioned a county-based economic development organization as being a resource to go to. That aside, I thought the other part of the week's long presentation, a common theme was on planning and having the right human resources to help run your business and to grow your business. And one thing that Sawyer County has never done is it's never done a strategic plan. And I think, especially with new supervisors on board and then coming up on a new budget year, again, it's time to make that request to have department heads inform their committees of jurisdiction about what they're mandated to do, all the things that they do, and to help inform supervisors, just as if you're running a business, what staffing do they need and what resources do they need to deliver the services. Thank you.
Make a motion. I make a motion to approve the minutes from April 8th.
I'll second.
All those in favor? Anybody opposed? Okay, minutes approved. Sawyer County Agricultural Fair Association report. I don't see anybody here. Stacy, anything to add? We always turn to you.
Okay. No, I know that they're doing a fundraiser in June. They also have June Dairy Month being held out there. They've been doing a lot of renovations. Other than that, I don't know.
University of Wisconsin Extension Department report.
All right, good morning. My name is Lori Baltrushis, and I'm the Area Extension Director. And so I just want to give you a quick overview, especially for new members, of what Extension is. If you're not familiar with us, you get to hear my speech again, just a couple minutes. So I often think of Extension as an extension cord from the University of Wisconsin to various communities around the state. And so we connect our resources through the university to the state, but we also, I sometimes say I want to switch that extension cord around and say we connect back to the university the important things that are happening out in the state of Wisconsin. So anyway, extension cord is how I think about when I think about extension. The second thing I would mention is that the community is our classroom. So although we have office spaces here in the building, you often won't find our educators here in the building. They'll be out in the community, meeting with the public and doing education in the community. So our department's a little different than many of the departments here in the county. So the other part is that we have a contract with you. And so in your packets, I provided you the contract and what that looks like, and probably more information than you ever want to know about Extension. So read at your leisure. I thought I might also send a video out to you, just a couple minutes, that is a nice overview from our dean as well. And so I'll get that into your email boxes. But there is a contract to provide the education. So here in Sawyer County in particular, that contract covers 4-H and youth development, which is through Donna, who also is the Winter Public Library Director. And so you'll hear from her with a different hat today as well. And agriculture. So Kevin is housed over at the Spooner Ag Station, and he provides agriculture education for the county. You may have heard him on public radio. That's his claim to fame, I guess, too, with Garden Talk. So that's Kevin. And then Ariga is our community development educator. She is also paid a third of her contract. The contract we have with you, a third of it is paid from LCO. And so a lot of her focus is working with LCO tribal members as well for economic development and community development there. So that's just kind of the overview. Partnerships, we really try hard to not duplicate services, but to come alongside and partner with people in the community. So wanted to mention that as well. In your packet, you received our quarterly report. It's for January through March. It's a little late to give it to you in April, but we were holding on to it, especially for new committee members this time around, when it's important for you to have at least a little bit of information. So a couple things I'll highlight in that report for you is that 4-H is growing. Donna's really proud of that, and rightfully so. She's been working hard to get youth members and volunteers and lots of people on board with this for 4-H. So you can see those numbers of increasing. You will also, Heart of the North is something to keep your eyeballs on. Those are youth that are representing our northern communities as well and headed to the legislature in February. And so that's in our report to you today. Food-wise, I will say, I didn't mention food-wise when I mentioned all the educators that come to work in your county. Food-wise is kind of, I always say it's the Kohl's coupon. It's the extra stuff that you get because you have a contract with us. So the first part of the report highlights Bridget and Kimberly and all of the work that they do to make the healthy choice the easy choice. And so that's with Strong Bodies that they've reported on before, a lot of education in the schools regarding healthy choices and nutrition. So the other part on the to highlight for you is at the very end of the report, Cassidy joined our staff this quarter as well, this first quarter. And so she's the support staff who's working with us to create reports as well as all of the accounting and finance and that kind of stuff for us as well and support our educators. She's contracted with us through the state for about 8 hours a week and is here in the building periodically. And yeah, that's a little different than we used to run things to. So I'll stop because I don't want your eyes to glaze over any more than they already are. But any questions for me? Okay, thank you.
Sherry, Hayward Lakes Visitors and Convention Bureau.
Good morning, Sherry Beckman with the Hayward Lakes Visitor and Convention Bureau. So every month I come and I kind of do a highlight of the marketing activities that we do. So I'm kind of going to start off with what the Department of Tourism has been up to and how that aligns with what we're doing. So our regional tourism specialist, actually, I don't know if you guys met Jeff. A couple of you might have met Jeff, but he decided to go back and work for the Wapaka Chamber of Commerce. So we're going to have Drew Nussbaum back in our territory for a while till they figure out who they're going to hire. You guys have met Drew, I think, in the past because he was ours for a while and then he moved south. So we had the fishing opener this past weekend. We were in Burnett County. It was a lot of fun. It rained quite a bit on Saturday, but I guess the governor did catch fish. I was at the family fishing day, so I didn't get to see that part of it because he was on a different lake. But our basket was the highest bidded basket, so feel pretty good that we had a really nice presentation for Sawyer County. So much I can't even, we had gift certificates for food, for lodging. We had a huge, Hayward Power Sports donated a huge cooler. Seven Winds Casino, they had a little mini cooler, like a backpack cooler. And they had, it was just filled with a whole bunch of fun stuff. We had Winter's Delight Bakery. She did a whole box of homemade cookies. So yeah, it was a really nice basket. National Travel and Tourism Week will be coming up here May 19th through the 25th. Some of the things that we're going to do is we'll be on lifestyles. So if you guys want to tune in that day, it'll be May 22nd. We're working on some grants. So we signed up for this PR consultation, which I'm pretty excited about because it's brand new and I really don't know what to expect. But they did finally confirm that we're in the fall co-op lineup. So I'll get more information this fall to you after I go through that. Let's see. Oh, I wanted to let people know that kind of on a weekly basis, we get leads from different media who are asking questions. And it's just kind of, we get 7 days to respond. So it's kind of a quick turnaround and we have to stay on top of all of that. And just this month we had, they wanted to know about Wisconsin lakes. And then another one was about generational resorts. So that's just kind of stuff that we're constantly doing. And then we are in charge of all the Travel Wisconsin updates. So anything on travelwisconsin.com that is lodging, dining, goes through our office. So pictures, if you have new owners or anything changes, we do all of that maintenance. So I just wanted to kind of let you guys know that. Some of the stuff that we're working on, we decided we're going to do some new marketing. We're going to try to push the bass fishing because we have largemouth and smallmouth bass here. So we're going to try a banner ad with Bass Resource that just started May 1st. So we're going to do that for a couple months, see how it goes. And then we're also going to try a new thing is called the targeted email marketing, which is going to be with two different things, APG, which is going to hit Rochester, and the other one that's going to hit Eau Claire, and then we have the Star Tribune. And then I also wanted to give a shout out to on April 16th, we paid for Signifier to come and do a presentation at the Winter Area Chamber of Commerce Business After Hours. And he talked about the Google business profiles. And it was very interesting because he just went about, talking how important it is to have your Google page ready to go. So if somebody's online and they're going to see when your hours are or any reviews on you, they're going to go there. And it's important to have all that updated. And then he was just talking about you can be rated, 1 to 5 stars or whatever. And we actually got a 5-star rating like a day after that meeting. So it was pretty exciting. Anyway, and then I just want to let you know that I'm helping out Lynn with her WCCA conference. Chris, Ben, and I are going to do a Welcome Wisconsin Up North little introduction and welcome these 50 county clerks from around the state, show them how great Sawyer County is. I was interviewed on Spectrum News about ATV tourism on April 19th. And we also are in charge of namakagonriver.com or .org, I mean. So that's a website that we're constantly keeping updated with pictures and blogs and, keeping people interested in the river. And then this last one was that Northwest Regional Planning. They're doing a big, huge 2-year study. And so this is a little bit late because that was last week. But if you want, I have the recording. If you want, I can send it to you and you can listen to it. But any questions?
How's summer looking? Do you have any
Summer's
idea?
looking great. It's looking really good.
Compared to years past or just,
I think about the same.
okay, excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, it's looking good. We're always having trouble trying to find people for places to stay in July already. So, yeah.
Economic Development Corporation report.
All right, good morning. Currently, we're working on the Thrive grant. I'll give you a little bit of history from the past. We applied for a grant and received it. This is for $25,000 for 2 years. What are we going to do with that money? The plan is to open up an incubator program for small business owners to give them resources and give them technical assistance. And the plan is we're currently in agreement with LCO University to utilize their facility. And our current status is we applied for this grant. It's in underwriting, and July 1 is the anticipated release of funds. So we have business plan specialist, marketing specialist that will be available for Sawyer County residents to come and get assistance to start businesses. Now, this grant doesn't just give assistance to small business owners. This grant also is going to give us assistance in grant writing to get additional monies to help build this program into more than one facility in Sawyer County, and other assets that would help business owners get off the ground. So we're in the process of getting that up and running, and a lot of the pieces are in place. And I think the university is going to give us a lot of assets actually to utilize for small business owners. So that's been a huge push for us this last month and a half, and everything looks on track. So good news there. May 6th today is the last day for idle funding for businesses that we had a snow shortage. So they may apply with the SBA for idle monies, and today is the last day. We've heard back from quite a few businesses that have applied for that money. It's been a process for all of them, slow process. But as long as their application is in, everything is going in the right direction. So that's about to come to an end. We also have an update from the Homes Project, Impact 7 and the Tamarack Health have an agreement in place, and it looks to me, talking to Luke, that they're waiting on the city to develop a plan for the water and sewer. And, their timeline looks like once that is okay, and once that gets in place, hopefully by the end of summer, that they can start the process. And their goal is the end of summer 2025 to be done. So that's still work in progress. Another little project we have going on. So the EDC and marketing is one of the big roles that I have taken on, and it's not just educating, it's informing, it's everything. What do we do? Where are we going? And actually, Ms. Hessel gave me the idea of this, so she'll have to take the credit. But I think promoting new businesses in Sawyer County is extremely important. So we have a business after 5 through the chamber. We have ribbon cuttings, but what we are proposing at the EDC is going to be socials for grand openings for new businesses in Sawyer County. So the EDC is going to front that, and we're going to try to bring to light what is going on and what's coming in. So that's going to be kind of a fun project to take on. And then I also have a meeting coming up in May with Winter City Council, talk about housing and the housing situation in that part of our county. So that kind of sums up where we're going and what we're doing. You guys have any questions? Yes, Ms. Hessel.
Could you introduce yourself and tell a little bit about Sawyer County LCO to our new members?
That's a good call. My name is Adam Lamori. Sawyer County LCO Economic Development Corporation is the organization that I help front. My job is to promote basically new business owners, opportunities, housing. And when it comes to work education, work experience, placement, I mean, basically everything encompassing what challenges our county. Daycare falls into that. So that's the purpose of the organization, and that's the ideas behind it. One other thing with purpose, Ariga is helping the EDC put together a strategic plan. We had one session last board meeting. We have another one, a couple-hour session to wrap it up this Thursday. So we're looking at updating our strategic plan and setting some new goals. So sorry for that lack of introduction.
For the sake of the new members, I'm not to put you on the spot, but is there one choke point that you're dealing with that seems to touch all realms of what you're with? I mean, I would assume that choke point is housing, but maybe it's not. What's the biggest challenges you face? Challenge or challenges?
It's 1, 2. Housing is definitely number 1, and daycare is right behind it. And that's when you talk to our bigger employers. It's hard to recruit and retain when there's a lack of housing options, especially when they're comparing what they could have other places. So, we do have significant projects that are happening. There's definitely a couple big projects going on. I still see a need for single-family homes and even elderly homes. So those are two areas. It seems like, that the townhomes and the rental properties are going to be increasing. But, your single-family homes tend to take up more space, and we have a space issue. We don't have a space issue. We have an accessibility issue. Okay. So, I met with city council. We talked about what the shortages are and the need for them. But it is the challenge. It's the challenge of getting people access to property to build on, the infrastructure. Those are all things that are all encompassing of that. So that's definitely the challenge. The easy thing is getting, now is going to be getting information and technical assistance to small business owners. Now, where they're going to find their workers will be the next challenge. Yeah, it goes right back. So, yeah, and all of this, goes back to our standard of living. So we have a great county to live in, but when you're paying 40% of your income on housing, whether it's rent or mortgage, your standard of living is going to go down. And that's really the focus of the EDC is, well, how do we make it affordable? And you got to increase the supply somehow. Okay. You can ask another question, right?
So housing is the challenge. Is it just a matter of time to knock that down, or is there opposition or obstacles that have to be removed, or is it just a matter of doing A through Z? I don't make sense.
I think it's going to, this is my opinion, I think it's going to come down to incentivizing some contractors to build. Okay. Once you get through the land part and assessing the land, what is going to be the incentive that they have to come to Sawyer County? Because they're getting them other places.
So does that go back to like what they're doing, like Dave Armstrong in, is it Barron?
Yeah, Barron County. Yeah.
Similar to something like that?
Yep. Yeah, he's a professional.
Right.
He got it down. And he has a lot. It's also connecting the dots and learning what dots to connect,
Right.
reaching out and talking to people and where you can go. So what are the strategies?
I think just hearing about it is helpful here. At least we're talking about it.
Yeah, we're talking about it. That's what I've learned too.
Yeah.
Because I have a lot to learn. I have not put together those projects before. So,
Well, we weren't even talking about it before. We just knew it was a problem. So
Right.
talk about it and then we'll take action, hopefully.
right. To see where we
achieve
stack
something.
up with other counties and to see where we stack up in the state.
Now, does the Tamarack development, that just puts a little dent into it?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's about 40 units.
Okay.
So, and then there's another, proposed bigger townhome project coming into. So that'll alleviate some of that. It's all trickle too. If you have, even if it's expensive, you have people living there and hopefully it opens up other spots. So,
I think would be helpful too, maybe you're already doing it, but I'm just thinking what I see is sometimes opposition from the public because they want nothing to change. Intuitively, I think bringing in business is good, should help the community, should help
yeah.
the tax burdens, all that. So I don't know if there's a way as we go along here to show how people benefit from that versus all the nightmares you hear because they don't want to see the population grow by, whatever. So.
Right. And I guess, yeah, it's all depending on your perspective of it, right? I
Right.
haven't ran into too many people that were opposed to the growth in the housing.
Oh, good.
I think most people are affected in some way. And they're not all the same way. But if you know anyone that's trying to find a place to buy or live or rent, you realize that there's a problem.
Right, so depending which side you're on.
Depending on what your side you're on, yeah.
Okay.
So I think even if you don't even live in Sawyer County full time, you want more housing here because all of the things that you buy and do, you need assistance for. So
Great
they
point.
realize it when they need to find someone to pull their dock in or mow their lawns and they have a waiting list.
Return a phone call on air conditioning, but that's my story.
That's exactly right. All right,
Thanks.
guys.
Mr. Chair, can I ask a question and then a follow-up? Did you say the homes project at Tamarack You said summer of 25. Is that for the water or is that for the whole project?
That was the whole project.
Okay.
The water, they're hoping by May, they have approval, and then they have it done by the end of summer. And then they hope to start building end of summer, early September. And that's their timeline. I get an update every month, so.
One more question too. Is there anything from this board that you would like to have that you're not getting, or what can we do, if anything? Is that on your mind, what we can be doing?
So right now, one of the things when I talk to builders is, what properties could become available, if a contractor came in or something of that nature. I'm looking for availability, or even ideas of how we could work together to make things more affordable. There is some unique things that are going on in the state and other states that are provided for people, incentivizing stuff like that and helping reduce costs, but they're not necessarily what we need to do. But I just need to know about opportunities, and I'm meeting with the city on the same thing. What areas might be available. So, because
When you say incentivizing, is that loosening of regulations, taxes? What is that?
yeah, for contract, yeah, it's taxes. It's even, reduced rates for the cost of that infrastructure. And it's kind of interesting because every area is so different. Talking to Dave Armstrong at Barron County, they have different challenges than we have. And they have more land available, with more water and sewer hookups. So that's a big deal.
Yeah.
That's a huge deal. I can tell you right now, we could have contractors come in if that water and sewer is right there, butting up to the land, right? So that, I guess they just follow the money.
Who pays for that infrastructure is what they're
Pays
saying.
for it.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
And, whether there's a TIF or how you go about it. Our housing committee has met before. We've talked about other things that are tax-based, creatively. So, yeah, we're kind of in the idea processing area. I think we could come back and give you a definite, this is what we could do based on these opportunities.
That'd be
That
helpful.
would be, because that pushes us in the right direction and it gives us some options.
Excellent.
Right now, the county board, city council, they are on board with more housing. It's just a matter of how we do it affordably. Okay.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions? No. Library updates. Who would like to go first? Okay.
Good morning. I'm Ann Larson. I'm the Assistant Director and Program Coordinator at the Sherman and Ruth Rice Community Library, which is just down the street. May is a real busy month for us. Some of the things that we've done already is we had a Star Wars trivia night, and that is done in coordination with all the 30 libraries within the Northern Waters Library Network. I am part of the marketing committee, and that is just one of the things that we do. We offer it in person or Zoom, so people can come to the libraries or do it via Zoom. This Saturday, we had our fishing opener. We had Frank Pratt teach fishing, about fishing to families, and about 25 kids came along with their families. They had a great time. This month is also busy for us because we do tours, hence my Miss Frizzle dress. I've got 50 kindergartners coming today and about 60 on Wednesday. On Friday, we have the need help with this one? Wackadati school coming, 4th and 5th graders on Friday. Toward the end of the month, we have all the 6th graders coming, learning about how to do research and just the things available for them at the library. Aside from that, good news, I wanted to let you know, we have the story walk out on our trail. received a grant from the United States Forest Service for over $4,000 to get frames for the story walk books. What we have right now is a wooden, what I'll call a table with a post, and then the story is mounted on it at 18 stations. A lot of our books were getting damaged even with laminating, so they have these special frames available, and we reached out and we got the grant from the United States Forest Service. And that resulted also because we'll be celebrating Smokey the Bear's 80th birthday this whole year. So we'll be doing some programs with them. Also on our grounds, you know that the Peter Toth statue is being worked on, and we are making posters and putting them around town. And the restoration guy is staying on our property in his camper for 3 days at a time. So that is what is going on there. Let's see. Yeah.
Just that Guy Houston, most of you are probably aware Guy Houston is heading the GoFundMe page for Sawyer County Historic Society.
That was Molly, the director of the library. Today we had to unfortunately cancel our Hello Tech. We have a Hello Tech program for anybody who needs any help with their phone, with their Libby, with their computer. We're short on staff today, but also because I have the kindergarten tour and our meeting room is filled with AARP, so there's always a lot of things going on. But we reached out to everybody who signed up and are doing personal help for them. This week is also Children's Book Week. So any child who comes in, they can get a little raffle ticket and draw prizes, small prizes. And then tomorrow during story time, which happens every Tuesday at 10:15 from Northwest Connection Family Resources, they come in. We'll be giving out a book tomorrow, The Hungry Caterpillar. We continue to do the writer's workshop once a month, and that's been well attended for 18 and older. And on the 18th, we're going to be working with kids, and that is the Kids Interactive Tools for Success on making custom baseball hat for kids. And let's see, that's about some of the things, and we're busy getting ready for summer reading. Any questions? Thank you.
Hiding back there.
Hello, my name is Donna Nucky. I'm from the Winter Public Library. I'm the director there. We have some new members. The libraries do get some funding from the county to help us with being able to provide services to our communities. Our library is a 1,200 square foot library. It's fairly small, but we still are able to do quite a bit for our community and serve the needs in our community. You probably have the same report that I have in your packet. But we are this week focusing on connecting with the winter school. We do have groups that come down to the library and we offer reading or STEM programs for them to participate in. This year, we're trying to collaborate. There's a big reading event Wednesday night at the school, and we're working with the reading teacher there and trying to get youth reading all summer long and families involved. And it's very nice that we're working collaboratively and doing some kind of summer. We always do a summer reading program in winter at the library, but connecting this school and the school families. So we're super excited about that collaboration. And then we'll have a joint end of the year party. But we're just trying to see if that helps increase reading scores at the school and get youth excited about reading and learning more. I've talked in the past, a lot of our funding, like I said, comes from the county. Then we seek out additional funding through donations, grants, and fundraising. I did apply for a STEM grant in which we can provide science, technology, engineering, and math kits to families. It is a competitive grant, and we did receive notice at the end of April that we received, I think I asked for about $1,300 and they gave us $1,500, so that was a bonus. So we'll be making those purchases and getting
circulating STEM kits for families and for community members. Some other things we do, ongoing programs, we have 1,000 books before kindergarten. We work with our kindergarten class in doing what we call a race to 100. And so we try to get youth to participate in fun incentive reading activities. UW Extension Foodwise program, I know Lori had touched on that a little bit earlier, but we do, they have a Strong Bodies, which is a strength exercise program for seniors. So the library does not have an on-site person doing it, but we are able to sign up for the virtual. This is all virtual, but we have a group of people that like to come to the library and participate together. So we have that projected in the library for them to participate in. We had our jigsaw puzzle tournament. We try to get families and community members involved in doing something social. And so yesterday was our second jigsaw puzzle competition, which doesn't sound important, but it's super important to a lot of people. And we get together at the library. We have 4 teams. The community comes up with 4 teams. They provide, the library provides the puzzles, and we just have a blast. They have 2 hours to complete the puzzles. And yesterday, they're very serious about this. I mean, they practice from month to month for this. Yesterday we had it, and it was a lot of fun, and they're looking forward to more opportunities that different people can come to the library and just hang out and have fun. We have some upcoming events. Of course, summertime is our huge fundraising time because we have, winter grows during the summertime. So we have our Spring Fling book sale, where literally the library is transformed because of the space, is transformed into a huge indoor book sale. We have raffle tickets. We have our 2-mile color run and 10K race in July for the July Jubilee. We sell glow items at the July Jubilee fireworks and work with July Jubilee Committee. It's kind of a joint fundraising effort. We have musical festival food stands, the duck race, which has become super popular in the Chippewa River. And then, of course, our homespun holiday basket raffles for that large indoor craft show. So we're always looking for additional opportunities to fundraise, promote the library, and support the needs in our community. Do you have any questions? Okay, thank you.
Kathy, motorized trail and non-motorized trail, well, motorized trail.
Yeah, I do have skis, but I'm never going to be in the Berkey. I don't think I could do that. Good morning, I'm Kathy LaRue with the Sawyer County Snowmobile and ATV Alliance, in case you don't know who I am. All of our ATV trails throughout the county opened up as of May 1st. So we're very excited. The trails are wet and muddy, which is a lot better than riding in dust at this point. As you probably have heard, we are requesting of Public Works and the full county board to open up ATV routes on county roads within Sawyer County for the connectivity value. We're hoping for your support with those actions. We're bringing those to both committees this month. And then lastly, I just want to make a comment. The Wisconsin Outdoor Recreation Office published a economic impact study done by Daniel Lee Consulting, which indicates that ATVers in 2023 spent an estimated $4.2 billion in Wisconsin, which is very significant. Just wanted you to know that. Any other questions?
Well, I guess first a statement, it was mentioned earlier about, I think if there was a business plan, what you're asking for would have been done a long, long time ago, especially from this board, is that economic development. And I think maybe if you could just say a little bit more on the connectivity, because what I've heard out there, some people say, hey, I understand, businesses should have the access to their businesses, but there's not many people in my area for this one. There's only one business that's there, but then you mentioned the connectivity part of it. everything, the connectivity part, which I think some people maybe don't understand. So I don't know if there's maybe in a minute you can explain that.
Sure. Well, first of all, most ATVers aren't looking to ride on the roads. So we're not trying to open up the roads just so, people aren't going to get on those $30,000-$40,000 machines so they can just go ride down the road. It's, we have 4 main trail systems in Sawyer County. The Sawyer County Forest, the Chequamegon, the Flambeau River State Forest, and then the trails through LCO. Excuse me. You need the roads to connect those, number one. And then, of course, we want to connect all of our businesses and services with those trails. So the way the routes that we currently have don't provide that connectivity. There are little segments here and there that just don't cut it. They're not the most direct ways to get places. There's a lot of the roads that we're trying to open may not visibly connect a business, but what they do is make it a lot easier for riders to get to a business, such as an example, the business is down at the end of River Road, off of Highway B. If we continue and open up B down to Highway W, it'll just make it that much easier for people to get around. So that's part of it. There's not actually a business right along there that we're connecting, but it's giving that, it's making it easier for people to traverse across the country, the county for one thing, and just connect with all the business owners.
Excellent. I think that's helpful. And these are county roads.
Correct.
So
Just
towns
the
that,
county roads.
towns have, it's not their roads. These are the county roads.
Correct. The town roads, most of, I can say that as of now, most of our towns have opened their roads or opened many of their roads. We still have a few that aren't fully open, but they do have some roads open. So they're working on it with
I
their
guess my point with that is that we're looking to open our county
Just
roads,
the county
not
roads, not
roads that aren't the
Correct.
county roads, right?
right.
Is it true that most of our neighboring counties do have their county roads open to ATV, UTV use?
I'll read you a little list here. Ashland, Barron, Burnett, Douglas, Dunn, Polk, Price, Rusk, and Taylor are all open. Ashland has a little over 75% of their roads open. So I hesitated putting them in that, but when you look at their ATV map, they're so open, it's ridiculous. Bayfield County's at 46%. I've talked to their county officials and their tourism officials. They are intending to try and open that up. They were not successful this last time. Chippewa County's at 66% open. Eau Claire County with I think they have probably close to 500 miles of county roads. They're 75% of the way open. So everyone in the Northwest region is getting on the ball. Washburn County is still down there at 30% open, but they're going to be an island at some point here.
Goes back to the tourism and stuff Sherry's talked about for many, many months.
Correct.
Any other questions? Andy, anything? No?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Andy, broadband update. Any update?
Lynn, can you, put that up on the screen? So I do have some broadband updates. There was a broadband workshop last week here in Hayward for this part of the state. And they went through and provided primarily it's about the BEAD funding, the broadband equity grant program that's coming up. So the map has been the biggest part of the project, and I'll show that in a minute. But they did provide these county profiles. So if you look at this map that's up on the screen, the green and bluer dots are all served and probably not going to be BEAD eligible. They determine that they are served and have usually multiple choices for their broadband provider. Each of those dots is a BLS, a broadband serviceable location. So the darker orange are getting service or in progress, and the yellow are the ones that still need service. So the map's not going to look as good. If you look at the numbers up on the top, they determined that in Sawyer County, there's just over 17,000 locations. And right now, underserved, unserved, or no service count are 9,429. Just keep those numbers in mind. We'll get towards the end. Scroll down a little bit. So then this shows a little just more in chart form, the number of served properties, underserved, unserved, or no service. Then the lower left, they have the broadband speeds for the county. So we're still a little light on where you want to get to 100 megabits per second and 20 upload. 100 down, 20 up is really the standard now for internet service that they're trying to get to. So we're still a little light there. And go down to the next page. So enforceable funding commitment are funds that are in process essentially that have been granted, but maybe projects are not completed yet. So we do have a number of those in progress. So after all, if you take into account all of those dollars, any ARPA dollars hanging out, capital projects fund, that's usually, monies are usually coming through the Wisconsin PSC. There are also some federal dollars that some of our providers are getting. When all those projects are completed that are already approved and enforceable, we'll be down to 4,900 services that are either underserved or unserved or not in service at all. So and that gets us pretty close to where everybody else is. Everybody's tracking to be at about 25%-ish of their counties that are still needing to get their different locations served. Keep going down a little bit more. Yeah, and that just lays out those numbers a little more as to unserved or no service in the list of providers. I'm going to share my screen to pull up the map.
I don't know. Is satellite included in there? Like, so if a business chose to get it satellite, that's out of the picture?
Yeah, not in these numbers.
Got it.
But part of the conversation last week is that I think, and I don't know if this has been said a lot, but it's being said more often now, is that ideally everybody would get a line to their house or their cabin, a fiber or something comparable, and that's probably just not going to happen. I mean, they're saying that pretty straightforward now that there are some properties that just doesn't make sense to get service to, and they use the example, if you have a $100,000 cabin that's a mile off the road, and it's going to cost a good portion of that to get the fiber back there. It just doesn't make sense for the provider. So, in the BEAD funding, when that is available, they are saying that they will, when they look for solutions, they'll be taking non-wired into account. Like if people are proposing like a fixed wireless solution, that will be eligible for funding. So this is the BEAD map. If you go to the PSC, you can find it. When you zoom out and look at the rest of the state, you're going to see the purples and blues are good. That means they're served. And so there's, some concentrations. Our county maybe will always look a little underserved, and that's primarily because of all the public land that we have. It's probably never going to look real purple. There's always going to be unserved areas down in like the southeast portion of the county or the far east, northeast portions of our county. So you can see that we do have a lot of purple blue around Hayward, Northwoods Beach, and then down in the southwest portion where Mosaic has done a lot of work, and then BevCom is around the Radisson area. When you zoom in really tight on these areas, you'll turn into the actual BSL, the serviceable locations, right down to the house or the unit. So I know, this committee's asked about our map. This is probably the best map that's available. I'm not even sure if it makes any sense for us to maintain ours, because this should have the most current information. These triangles, anything with a triangle around it, you can zoom in all the way, means that there's an enforceable funding commitment in place. So if it's orange now, that should be turning at some point to a blue or purple because there's a project ongoing that's going to get it served. Down the lower left, it has the served, underserved, and then funding in progress. If it's a blue or purple, try to find some up here. So you can see, I guess this is down around Radis and Coudray. BevCom has a project in place with some of our funds as well as the PSC dollars. So a lot of that area is in progress right now or is already been served. That's more in the Grindstone Lake, Sand Lake area, Whitefish Lake. They're getting all of that around the lakes served. So yeah, if you want to go in and play, that's a good place to look. You can go right down to your house and see if it's served. Now, part of the process with the BEAD program is this is what they call right now the challenge map. And so providers, organizations, local governments can challenge what's on this map. And that's open. That opened last week and is open till the end of May. Just based on the discussions I had at the meeting last week, I'm not sure there's going to be a lot of challenges to it. I think this, because of this process, and the whole reason is that there's $1 billion worth of funding coming into the state within the next couple of years through the BEAD program. They're prioritizing the unserved, underserved areas. So they want to make sure they have those all identified. I think the state, because of that, has done a better job of putting this map together now, kind of taking all that information. But I'm not sure how we can challenge it, so I don't think we have any better information. But we'll be talking to the providers a little bit more and seeing if they're going to challenge it. But there's information going out now to the public that could be letting us know or letting the providers know if they think what the information on this map or within this map is either accurate or not. When you zoom right into a household or a BSL, as they call it, you can click on it and it will tell you the service level and how many providers are there. And but you know, the areas that are not purple and blue on this map are the ones where the BEAD funding is going to go. And then the BEAD process, I guess the other interesting thing is in the past, we've been a partner on some of these projects. The county put ARPA dollars into some of these. And we've also just been the letter of support and supported all the projects that have asked for our support as they go in to get federal or state funding. With the BEAD program, though, there's going to be a little bit different spin on that, where we're going to be put in the position to endorse projects. And so probably not a big deal if we have projects scattered around the county, separate geographies. But if there's multiple providers going to the same location, the same space, we might have to prioritize those as to who's our number one endorsement and then down the list. Great question. So I should say, Steve was with me at the broadband, and he can share what he heard. But
Well, it was a very interesting session. Still trying to absorb what I should have absorbed at the meeting, just going through my notes and the different stuff, presentations, et cetera, they provided online for us to comb through after the event.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's a big program. It's going to be over about a 5-year time span, to get everything funded. And again, the program does seek to provide, or the program is geared toward broadband equity, access, and deployment.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as the equity part of it, the populations that they're looking to serve include elderly, the economically disadvantaged, racial minorities, there's about 8 different categories there anyway. So those would get priority, as I understand it, in this whole process too. And it almost seems like this process is, and they're still developing the second round of the guidelines for its implementation, which is supposed to be coming out very soon, as I understand it, right, Andy?
Yep.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, it seems like they've made this one a lot more difficult to navigate through simply because maybe some of the earlier funding, RDOF, et cetera, funding didn't come with too many strings attached. And some of the recipients of those earlier broadband grants haven't really shown much in terms of action yet. I don't want to name LTD broadband or anything like that, but there have been some disappointments around the country.
There'll be multiple carriers that want into these areas, is what you're saying.
There could be, we really haven't run into that here a ton. I mean, usually the providers.
But when you say endorse, I mean, it sounded like there'd be multiple and we would say we endorse XYZ, which I'm not sure how much weight that carries. Is that a decision?
That's a part, I mean, they are giving local governments a little bit of a say in this process. I think more so than they have in the past. I mean, before you signed on as a partner, you put some money in, they could list you as having a financial, so you got points for that.
Mhm.
But now it's not so much about the money, it's about having this, something we haven't tried to do is pick winners and losers. And you're almost gonna end up doing that, is picking who and part of it, they tell you can base it on the track record of the provider.
Yeah, you're trying to make the best decision based upon their
Yep.
quality of work or
Yep.
whatever it may be.
And
Or
that's what you're gonna. will end
maybe
up
they would
doing.
help invest in a sewer and water system.
Yeah.
That's just a joke.
Yep. I want to follow up on something Steve said too, with our map and the service we provide. There's 2 things that hurt us, and I'm not sure how many other areas it hurt. One was in the Connect America dollars, which were years ago. We name names, we might as well. Like CenturyLink got a good portion of those in this area, and they didn't connect everybody. They didn't put fiber to the premise. They did usually fiber to a node, and then it's still copper. And they had a very low bar to get over to use those dollars, and they probably did the minimum they had to as far as the number of rooftops within a census tract. They didn't have to do them all. They had to do, I think, a certain percentage. And they did that. And then the RDOF, the OF dollars, a company, LTD, was awarded a lot of RDOF dollars in this region that they ended up getting thrown out of the program, and the FCC didn't reallocate those dollars. They just went away, which would have covered a lot of our rural area. So we really lost out on 2 rounds of prior funds. But I think the way it sounds, a lot of the local providers, and why we don't have overlap, let me get back to that, is that we're working with our local telcos. Like Mosaic comes up from the southwest, Nervado's coming down from the north, and now from the east, because I think they've got Price County telephone or telco. They're coming in. Down by Winter, you'll note there's a purple blotch that comes in from Price County. That's Nervado, and they're starting to connect their 2 regions through us. And then from the south is Bevcom. And so generally they play nice with each other. They're not going to go into other people's territories. Around Hayward and the kind of the radius around Hayward, you've got some Nervado, some Century Tel, which is now Lumen. And then you've got Charter as well in there. So there's usually multiple providers. So I think it looks good. It's probably some of those, where we're at though with the last 4,900, those are going to be the most expensive ones to serve on an individual basis, because all the easy ones, the ones with the higher return on investment, are getting grabbed up first by these providers. So, but how to get some of these last miles will be the most difficult. So that's coming. Like Steve said, the state had to submit to the federal government a couple different things. One was what they call Volume 1, was the BEAD challenge process. And then Volume 2, or whatever that's called, is really how they're going to put the money out when this is all done. That's what they're waiting on the final rules for. There is still the BEAD Regional Planning Group. A bunch of local counties in Northwest all allocated our BEAD dollars to the regional group to try to do some more effective planning. We forgot to include that in the county board appointments, but that's why I had Steve kind of volunteered, but I kind of told him he was going to go to the meeting last week because I had worked with him a little bit in the past. He's got some background in working in the broadband area. I didn't realize he had worked a little bit with Ed and Bruce 4 years ago on the ARPA dollars the county had put out. So it's great to have him on board. But we'll keep him working on it as well.
Do you know on what level the schools were involved in that? Because I know we've done a lot of research because with the one-on-one learning, a lot of the students don't have service. So do you know if they tapped into the schools as a resource, whether it be Winter, Hayward, or Birchwood or anything?
Not as far as that. I know they have a special recognition on the map as being community anchor institutions, but not so much looking at the service that their students have, just to make sure that the school itself has a priority for getting adequate broadband.
Yeah, and that's never been a problem. It's just when they have to do the
At home
stuff at
stuff.
home. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything along those lines.
Oh, thanks, Steve and Andy. I just hear endorsement, my ears perk up, but hopefully there'll be competition for it. I don't think there's anybody here for LCO update. So we move on to Historical Society.
Well, the most important thing I've done so far is I bought some large Post-it notes, so I'm actually here. The last 2 months, I remembered it Monday afternoon. So we've been busy at the museum. We're getting things ready for our summer hours, which start after Memorial Day, which is Thursday, Friday, and Saturday will be open noon to 4. We've been working on some new displays. We got a large, very old wagon, like the work wagon. It's got some huge wheels on it, like this high, and that's set up in the bunkhouse. We've had people from St. Francis there this summer. They're gathering information because this is June, will be the 100th anniversary of St. Francis, and they are having a program and a service. Also, during the Lumberjack Show this year, there's going to be a trolley tour in Hayward on the Friday of the Lumberjack Show, and we've been asked to set up the online ticket sales for it and to have someone there at the visitor center when the 2 tours leave. It's a teacher from Minnesota that's doing it. He's been doing it where he lives for like 20 years every summer. And he has a place on Whitefish Lake. So he may be getting ready to retire and take up doing it here. They've sold around 25 tickets already. And the size of the trolley will depend on how many tickets are sold ahead of time. We're also working on a fundraiser. We're trying to raise $15,000 to restore and preserve the totem pole at the library. I think it was last Thursday, we're at like $7,900. And the gentleman that's doing the work will take $5,000 when he starts, and we'll keep raising the money. It won't cost the entire $15,000 for the restoration, but there's other improvements we'd like to make if we raise all the money. Our board member, Guy Houston, is the main one behind that. He's working on it quite hard. And we did have also the 7th graders from Northern Water School were at our museum last Thursday. They raked up all the pine needles in our front yard for us. They have a lot of energy, more than we do. We're thinking about doing a new display in our basement, one room dedicated to gangsters and criminals in Sawyer County. There seems to be a lot of interest in that. So that's just so far in the thinking process. So we'll work on that. We're going to put a fence around our logging sled in the front yard with 4x4 posts and some cap lights on it to show it off at night. So there's a lot to do there. So, other than that, that's about
A lot
it.
going on. Appreciate your work. Thank you.
Yeah.
Future agenda items, I don't know if there's any suggestions for that.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
can I just combine number 19 and 20 for a second?
Yes.
Offer up some comments.
Yep.
So I kind of mentioned this at the board meeting and I want to revisit it here just because this committee, I think, ties in with a lot of our outside commissions and boards we're on. So I did have one update going back to the Planning Commission. So the Planning Commission is a federal district for economic development. Underneath the Planning Commission, though, there's a number of corporations that run funds. So I think there's probably 4 different loan funds or equity funds that operate out of there. One is the Northwest Regional Economic Development Fund, which is all the counties used to have loan funds for businesses, or most did. Those were all consolidated probably 10 years ago. So there was one loan made last month to a Sawyer County business, the Lumberjack Lodge, which is south of Hayward on Highway 27. It's the one with the red roof. I think it was a $235,000 loan. They've got new owners a couple of years ago and they're renovating that. So I just want to give that update. But just so you're aware, so there's the Northwest Regional Economic Development Fund, there's the Northwest Business Development Corporation, there's a Wisconsin Business Innovation Association, or Business Innovation Corporation that all operate out of the Planning Commission that provide funding or support to businesses within the region. There's also Visions Northwest, which is essentially the regional economic development group now that all of the counties belong to, that meets monthly and works on regional initiatives. And then kind of bringing these up just so that we can keep these in mind. And when we get updates here, try to bring in some of those updates so that we know what's going on in the regional level. Like I said at the board meeting, some of these were just part of the oversight and governance to make sure they're running. Some, like the Planning Commission, we do have budget dollars that we put into them to help them operate. Along those same lines, there's something that we fund called the ITBEC, which used to stand for like International Trade, Business, and Economic Development. Really, that's been split now, so it primarily does tourism. I think they're rebranding themselves as Travel Northwest Wisconsin, finally. That's been like a 10-year discussion to get it named something that we know what it means. Sherry is our representative on there to the really the working part of that group. The board chairs make up the governing board. Kind of, I think, sprinkled into your report, you're referring to some of the things that Travel Northwest does, but it's the whole idea, though, that you can get some things done regionally. So they do maps like regional core, like trail maps and some regional marketing. It's kind of the funnel. The state does theirs, the region does theirs, helps drive all of the traffic to the local entities. So when you see that in the budget, that's what that is. NORTAC is another one that you're going to be going to, is the Regional Trails Group that is quarterbacked by the Planning Commission. Then we have the job development agencies, Northwest SEP, which Steve's going to be representing us on. They, bring in a lot of workforce development dollars from the region or from the federal government and the state. And they, should be working hand in hand with the Northwest WIB, which I don't believe we have anybody appointed to now. But when we talk about workforce, those are some of the agencies out there doing their work. And then PACE, I don't want to forget about that. Stacy's appointed to that. So PACE is something counties signed on to within the last few years. It's essentially a statewide co-op or consortium where if you're doing energy efficiency projects, usually they're large scale projects. They're like hotels, big commercial development. You can apply through funding for them. It attaches the financing to the property, so if that property is sold, that financing tool is still there. We don't see a ton of there's actually, I think activity's really picked up there, but I don't think we've seen a ton of projects up in this part of the state, but it is a tool that's there.
I've been on for 2 years and I've seen one up north.
Ashland? I think,
Well,
Bayfield.
mm, no,
No?
I'm not positive. Sorry about that. But it's not a lot, so.
No. But it is a tool that's there, if somebody wants to take advantage of it. So just wanted to highlight that, these, so that we make sure we're talking about them here, and if things happen, those outlying committees and boards, we're bringing it back here if we need to.
Chair, would it be out of line for the Northwest Regional Planning to give us those breakdowns so that, because I didn't know that we should be reporting on those because I thought it was confidential, but could they give us a breakdown on that? On like the local loan, who they're giving that to?
Yep.
And then also, do you want to report from PACE each month? We meet the same day as the financial meeting, but on this, I could give a report for PACE if it's necessary. So nobody's ever asked me what we do, or we just meet by Zoom.
Yep, I think if it's noteworthy, just to
Okay.
make sure we talk, know that's happening.
All right, if there's nothing else, we'll adjourn. Thank you, everyone.